Hey there, and welcome. In this explainer, we're going to dive into the essentials of automation, what it is, why it matters so much, and most importantly, how you can start building some really smart workflows that will save you a ton of time and effort. Let's jump right in.
So let's be real for a second. We have all been there, right? Spending hours, maybe even days on those tedious, repetitive tasks. Copying data from one place and pasting it into another, feeling like your brain could be used for so much more. It's not just mind-numbingly boring. It's a total drain on your real potential. But what if there was a better way?
And here's the problem laid out side by side. On the one hand, with manual work, you're just stuck with wasted time, you've got human error creeping in, and decisions can be kind of subjective. But on the other side, automation brings this amazing predictability, huge boosts in efficiency, and this is the big one, it lets you make objective, data-driven decisions. And that is the key to unlocking some serious value. Okay, so let's get right into the heart of it. What are they really talking about when we say automation in the world of software and workflows? And why is it becoming such an absolutely critical part of how modern businesses get things done? Now that definition, yeah, it sounds a little academic, right? A predictable set of predetermined actions that transfers data. But if we just break it down, it's actually super simple. The two parts you really need to care about are predictable actions and data transfer. Think about it. If you can't predict the steps, you can't automate it. And if there's no data moving around, you're not really automating much of anything, are you? All right, let's make this super concrete with a real-world example. Just imagine you've got a contact form on your website. Someone submits it. That's when the automation kicks in. First, it checks the company type. If it's a low-value lead, bam, they're automatically added to an email sequence. If it's a high-value lead, their info pops right into a Google Sheet for the sales team. And if it's your absolute ideal customer, boom, an account manager gets an instant notification on Slack. See? The same starting point leads to completely different but totally predictable outcomes. No matter how ridiculously complex an automation might look from the outside, you can actually boil it all down to just 3 fundamental building blocks. Once you get these 3, you can pretty much understand any workflow out there. So let's break them down. Okay, so first up, we've got the trigger. The easiest way to think about this is like the starting gun for a race. It's the one event that kicks the whole entire process off. A trigger could be you literally clicking a button. It could be scheduled to run every single morning at 8 a.m., or it could be based on an app, like that form submission we were just talking about. Next, you've got filtering. And this is basically the traffic cop of your workflow. It looks at the data coming in and makes decisions based on the rules you've set up. In our little example, the filter was checking that company type. Was it low value, high value, or ideal? It's what directs all the data down the right road. And last but definitely not least, you have the action. This is the workhorse of the whole operation. The action is what actually goes and talks to other applications to get the job done. It's the part that updates that Google Sheet, sends that email, or pings that message to Slack. This is where the magic actually happens, where you see the final result. So let's put it all together. It's really this simple. A workflow kicks off with a trigger. Then the data runs through some filters to get sorted and maybe reformatted. And finally, that leads to an action where the task gets done. Trigger, filter, action. That's it. That's the whole game. Now that we know the basic building blocks, we have to talk about the single most important best practice. Seriously, if you remember only one thing from this whole explainer, please make it this. Okay, so you get it. You've got an idea for a task you want to automate. You understand triggers, filters, actions, and it is so tempting to just dive right in and start clicking buttons, right? But where do you actually start to make sure you don't end up with a complete mess later on? It's this. First, you plan. Seriously, before you open a single app, before you drag a single node, you map it all out. Planning is not some optional step. It is the absolute foundation of any good automation. And look, I know what you might be thinking. Planning? I just want to build. But why is this so critical? Well, because it forces you to completely understand the task from start to finish. It gives you a clear list of all the tools you're going to need. It tells you if the whole thing is even possible before you've sunk hours into it. It also lets you guess how long it'll take, and crucially, spot places where you might still need a human to step in. Okay, so far we've kind of been talking about this like you're a solo builder, right? Just you and your workflows. But let's be real. In almost any company, automation is a total team sport. And that means you've got to have rules for who can do what. So in a team setup, things usually break down into three main roles. You've got the owner, who basically has the keys to the entire kingdom. They manage everything. Then you have admins, who can manage all the workflows and the credentials. And then you've got members, who are your standard users managing their own stuff. This structure is just essential for security and making sure nobody breaks anything they shouldn't. Now this is a super important distinction to understand, especially for security. When you share a whole workflow, you're also sharing the credentials needed for that specific workflow to run. But when you share just a credential, like an API key, you let other people use it in their workflows without them ever being able to see or copy the secret key itself. They can use the key, but they can never actually see the key. It's a huge deal for keeping things secure. Building all of this stuff from scratch can be, well, it can be tough. But the good news is you don't have to. One of the most powerful resources you have when you're getting into automation is the community of other people who are building right alongside you. When you tap into the community, you get this incredible toolkit. You can ask questions and get help super fast. You can request new features you need, you can report bugs, and help make the platform better for everyone. But honestly, the real game changer is the massive library of pre-built templates. I mean, why reinvent the wheel when somebody has probably already solved your exact problem? There's a quote here that just nails it. Templates can save you a lot of time, and sometimes they can save you all of the time. Finding a solution that's already built and does exactly what you need is it's a massive win. So what's the lesson? Always check for a template first. All right, let's wrap this all up with your automation starter kit. 4 key things to remember. First, find the pain. Identify those repetitive, low-value tasks that are just eating up your time. Second, use your toolkit. Start thinking about every process in terms of triggers, filters, and actions. Third, the blueprint. Always map your workflow out before you build a single thing. And finally, use the community. Don't start from a blank page if you don't have to. Okay, so now you've got the core concepts. You understand the building blocks, you understand the process, and you know about the power of the community. So really, the only question left for you is what repetitive task are you going to eliminate first? What's the first domino you're going to set in motion?